All right, welcome to this Quickstart tutorial for how to use the Aux Tools texture importer. What I have here is just a simple rock, and what I'd like is to see what it looks like with a few different textures that I have output from some substance files. So I have a bunch of these rock textures, and I'd like to load them all up and be able to see whichever one I want on the rock. Okay, so I have an empty material network. I have a material assignment node here, and I have my texture importer HDA node. What I need to do to set this up is give it a material network so that I can load the textures into here as materials. I need to specify the directory that it will take the textures from. Now, because I am importing multiple materials, I need to import subfolders. I'm going to go ahead and import them as triplanar materials. I do have UVs on this, but you can do either way. I'm going to also give it a material assignment node, and that'll just make it easier to assign the material. I'll show you that in a second. Let's go ahead and run the import. Now this will take about 10 seconds because it is importing about 20 different materials. And once it is done, you will see all the materials pop up here. And so what this is, it acts as kind of like a controller, a high-level art directability controller for each of the materials that were imported. So if I go up here to the top, we have our abraded rock, and we have a few different options for that. I'm going to go ahead and start the render view. So you can see we don't have a material assigned yet, but I can go ahead and click assign material on this, and it's messed up. All right, so what I needed to do to fix this was I needed to start with a fresh texture importer node. I had reused it from before and something messed up with it. All right, so if that happens to you, you may need to restart. I'd always start with a fresh node for this. Okay, so what I wanted to show you was we can easily assign the material straight from here. And here's all the 20 plus textures that were imported, and I can just see what any of them look like with a simple click of the button. Another nice thing is there are some high-level controls that make it easy to see what this would look like. Also, like the displacement range so that it goes into the rock, like cuts in, which is nice. You can modify that here. I've noticed that depending on where my textures are coming from, they will need different normal settings. So that's right up here at top. We have some handy color correction settings that are easy to use. So if you want some wildly different look or feeling, you can change some level things up here. And just to show you what we have going on for each of these textures that were imported, what it did was it went in and parsed the texture names, and depending on the parsing rules, which I'll show you in another video, it will set up your Redshift network. And I have it set up so that your ambient occlusion will be multiplied to your base color. We'll have a color correct node, and that links up back to the controller as I showed you before. We have all our textures coming in, and they have the scale, connected to the controller as well. We have your normal and your displacement. Load in any map you want. You would just specify a substring to match on the kind of color it is with the Redshift node, that file import node, and where you want it to plug into the Redshift surface. And so that's the overview for that. I'll go into a lot more detail, the various options that you can do for the import config and the various options here explained in detail.